find.
Day ahead of you. First of all, just quickly, what do you expect to happen today at the hearing?
I expect Brian to be brought into courtroom 1 to sign the extradition paperwork.
About the substance of the charges against him. What has his demeanor been like? What has his mood? What have you observed from those multiple interactions in the last few days?
Come with me, give me your love, give me your love.
He understands the proceedings.
An AARP Medicare supplement plan from United Healthcare is the right plan for your life plans. It puts your priority.
Okay, so
It's going to be an Idaho case from this point forward, so it might just be them, kind of crossing their T's, dotting their I's, and being done with this section of this story. But this is Koberger being transported back to the holding area. He will be taken to the Pennsylvania Correctional Facility where he was this morning. And then, of course, that they will arrange for his transportation, his extradition back to the state of Idaho.
And I think this is where you're going to see online a lot of people saying this is where the case truly starts, because now they have a lot to prove in the fact of 3 questions. Okay, the motive. What was the motive here? Why did he allegedly do this? Did he know the victims? That's another big question that needs to be answered, and hopefully we get some of these answers when he's back in Idaho. And what evidence do police have against the suspect? And where's the murder weapon? That's another one. That's a big one. They want to find that murder weapon. I don't believe they have it. We haven't seen anything that's indicated that they do. But those are questions now that need to be answered. And that's why you're going to hear about everybody saying now is where the case really starts, because until we see that charging affidavit, until we see some information why the police feel so strongly that this man committed the crimes, we're kind of in that middle ground waiting to see the next step.
We're paying attention to your hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJosh questions and comments coming in on social media. Josh, well, let's pay attention to Twitter too. We'll try to answer as many questions as we can. We are now awaiting a 4:30 press conference with Pennsylvania State Police, where they are going to be answering questions on the Pennsylvania side of things. Chloe wants to know, hashtag HJB, do you think Brian will change his plea once the affidavit is released, or does he know the evidence against him already? Let's make this clear. He hasn't entered the plea. He is not yet in the jurisdiction where he is facing these charges. So he has to be physically in the state of Idaho for him to answer to these charges in front of a judge.
I'm going to mute my
so that
microphone
process
out.
is so. I think there's this assumption that, of course, that he is going to plead not guilty. It certainly sounds as I really don't know the answer to that question. It's actually a very interesting question. Does his Pennsylvania attorney have his
Privy to the information ahead of time?
Publicly? It's a great question.
Because it is sealed. I don't know
how sealed.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer either. That's a very, very excellent question.
You're asking a couple non-lawyers right now.
Yeah, but look, that's something that we'll try to get details on. Whether or not is Koberger waiving his extradition knowing the evidence against him? I would imagine that by now, he's received word. What we know, what we are hearing is that reportedly through law enforcement sources, okay, that there is a DNA component to this, a DNA match of some kind. We also know that the Elantra, the white Elantra that we can say now, was discovered at his property, or what police believe to be the white Hyundai Elantra that they have been searching for. So he has to know that. He absolutely has to know that to some extent, to some degree, through his representation. However, whether or not he's aware of the evidence, that's a really good question.
Is that feed still up? Do you see anybody come out of the courtroom, or
the feed is down?
Okay.
They have ended the pool feed, so this is but there is. Yeah,
Well, because my question is, the father of one of the victims, Steve Concalves, of Kaylee's dad, she was the 21-year-old daughter, his daughter, who was murdered. He was in there, and essentially he's positioning himself to be pretty much the victim who wants to be the face of the victims for this case, so to speak. So he was talking to NBC News earlier. He says, I want him to be sick of seeing us and sick of knowing that these people won't let it go. You know, it's a battle of wills, and we'll see who wins. So this dad, you know, as fired up as he should be, is going to make his presence known, and has today. He was in that courtroom for that hearing, as far as we understand today, and it sounds like he's going to be everywhere he can possibly be for every step of the way on this case.
I was just checking because we had planned, and we've been working on this over the course of today, planned to have access to some camera feeds outside the courtroom, because now, just like we saw him earlier, and I'll punch up this video, just like we had the video of his arrival, there's now going to be the video of his departure, and whether or not is there going to be, you know, a crowd of some kind that gathers in the area where they're going to transport him back to the Pennsylvania Correction Facility. I just checked our feeds. There are no active feeds outside the courthouse, which means that the camera crews that we have access to, they haven't powered on their signals. If they do power on their signal, believe me, here in the stream center, we'll be able to tap into it just like that with the touch of a button. I'll be able to take you to live outside the courthouse, where he is going to be then transported back to the correctional facility where he began his day awaiting extradition to Idaho. You know, Lisa with a really good question. Lisa, will they drive or fly him back to Idaho?
That is a good question.
It's another really good. This is why
I think they've done both in the past.
they have extraditions can be done via air. It
Okay,
can be done.
so I'm gonna leave you guys.
I'm sure
watch
it's
this.
flying because it's
Let me know if I
pretty
miss anything
far
in the
distance.
comments. I get these
Far
birds
distance,
so
is it?
I
I
can
mean, it would be just quicker to.
Just don't fly Southwest.
It's very,
Sorry,
very fair
I
point.
I couldn't avoid.
Hey, but they're back on track, right?
right.
That's what we've been reporting.
Couldn't avoid
that was a
the
good one,
opportunity
though.
there.
Yeah,
It's just
that was a good
softball
one.
toss there.
That was a good one.
So will they drive or fly him back to Idaho? I guess. Look, I guess we will find out, and that might those details might have been discussed briefly in court as to what the extradition process is going to look like. Did Brian Enton finish his tweeting? Let's see. Keeping an eye on our feeds here. Yeah, okay, so I'll read the rest of Brian Enton's tweets. Koberger told the judge he is not on any medication that would impact him making the decision. The judge said he has to be sent to Idaho within 10 days.
Oh, 10 days. I would have thought 72 hours, but.
And then just seconds ago, Koberger came into court and made eye contact with his family, sitting in the front row. He nodded at them. His mom cried, and his sister comforted the mom. A deputy brought her tissues. So Koberger, according to Brian Enton, made contact with his own family clearly emotional in the courtroom. Whether or not there was any moment of eyes meeting, or if there was any moment of Koberger seeing any of the victims' families, that hasn't been. Look, we're going to get all this information over the course of this live stream. We'll get more details as soon as it comes out. But as of right now, that's what we're going based off of our friend Brian Enton. We'll go over back to some other comments.
And look, I would imagine he doesn't want to sit in jail for 10 days. You know, if he believes that he's innocent and wants to fight this, I don't know how much control he has in making it happen faster than 10 days, but that's what the judge set as the limit.
Sierra Travels, what would have happened had he not waived extradition? So then they have to fight for extradition, and that would have elongated the process.
Yeah.
And then it's also, look, in the court of public opinion, that's not going to help your cause. If you're fighting extradition, that says something. That says something about.
It sends the wrong optics.
It does. Agreeing to extradition and saying you're looking forward to being exonerated, that sends a very clear message that you're looking forward to clearing your name.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a benefit to fight it unless you're trying to build a case from where you are, but you can't really build a case unless you know really what you're up against. So, kind of a moot point.
We'll continue to take your questions and your comments. I want to get this out there though as well. And we'll put away Sarah's comment here for just a moment. Fox News reported this afternoon that Brian Koberger's defense team, not his attorney, his defense team, hired investigators, and that those investigators arrived at the home where he is accused of fatally stabbing the University of Idaho students in Moscow. 3 men, I'll read this, 3 men, 2 women, according to Fox News, arrived at the King Road house at about noon Eastern time, spent 45 minutes taking video inside and outside of the property. Four of the investigators left after touring the home, while a crime scene reconstruction analyst, remained. Very, very interesting report from Fox News. So, this is we're starting to get the inkling of a considerable legal showdown here between the prosecutors in Idaho and between Brian Kohberger, who isn't just going to be represented by his defense team, but also, too, this is somebody who is studying criminal justice.
Right.
Somebody who has a bachelor's and a master's degree, Josh.
Right.
In fields related to the exact situation that he finds himself in.
Boy,
Which, of course,
reminds me of
in and of
old
itself
days.
is interesting to say the least. So how he now goes about proving what he claims to be his innocence is going to be really the major storyline now going forward. But really, everyone's just waiting for this evidence to drop because, if the evidence is concrete, it certainly points to look, everyone wants justice. Justice is the word that's on the tip of everyone's tongues. The 4 University of Idaho students, their families have been devastated by this just terrible act of evil. And if this is the person who committed the crime, then everyone wants there to be justice. And what justice looks like will take shape over the coming months.
Now, I want to address a tweet, too, from Elena Clemens, saying Steve Goncalves said he would be in the court in Idaho. He did not say he was flying to PA to attend BK's extradition hearing. Please report accurately. All right, I was going off the fact that he's saying that he's going to be wherever he can be.
I'm sorry, wait. What did we have incorrect?
This woman is saying Steve Goncalves said he would be in the court in Idaho. He did not say he was flying to PA to attend BK's extradition hearing. Please report accurately. So if I have that incorrect, then I've seen it incorrectly a few different times on other news agencies.
Let's get that.
So that's why I was hoping if we could see people coming out of the courtroom, because then I can verify who was there and who wasn't.
Yep. And what's interesting too, again, was so Steve was going to be at the Idaho court hearings to look him in the face and let him know this is not going away anytime soon.
Okay, so maybe that was.
Yep. No, but you
That's
know what though?
Thank you, Elena, for. I'm going to give you a like. There you go.
That's also been part of. I might have had that incorrect too.
But you know what? I think he, as a father, I think he's going to be everywhere he can be. I think if that happened to my daughter, you can bet I would be anywhere I could be at any time, because this is something that, his daughter was ripped from his life. And if this is the prime suspect, then.
Yeah, I got a similar tweet. So my apology. I misspoke too. That Steve was not
that might
in
be
the courtroom
incorrectly
today.
Across the.
So our apologies there for that inaccuracy. That Steve Goncalves is going to be at the legal proceedings in Idaho, and not today in Pennsylvania. So excuse us. Apologies. I misread that as that he was going to be in court today. Yeah, and people who are saying online that there's video of him already leaving, I'm not surprised by that at all. Yeah, I was really hoping to have that feed here, folks, but I do not control the camera crews outside of the courtroom. And
there's not a lot in terms of tweets either. In terms of, it was such a short hearing.
Yeah, I see
really
video
nothing.
of Kohberger leaving court.
Yeah.
So we were hoping to have feeds from outside of the courthouse.
Yeah, and if you're just joining us, we don't have a camera inside the courtroom, so we didn't get to see, who he looked at, how he acted, all those details. We can get them from the reporters who were in there at the time. But phones, tweeting, video wasn't allowed inside the courtroom.
So let's go back to the comments section. Thank you for the understanding there as we corrected the error. Gianna Marie, #KJB, is it true wanting to represent himself in Idaho? I haven't heard anything of the sort about him representing himself in Idaho. But that'd be
probably not advised.
No, but
his public attorney.
We have seen cases where you represent yourself
We
and
have.
then things go off the rails.
Yep.
You know, so this is interesting. Mom. My mom does not look like that. My mom doesn't
Look at
look
that
like
picture.
that.
That's
So this is not my mom. Someone's mom, but it's not my mom. Hashtag HJB, will he stay in Idaho forever? This is a very interesting question. So look, he's being extradited to Idaho. He's going to answer the charges. And he's not leaving Idaho until that legal process plays out.
Mhm.
And if he is convicted, then, again, we don't want to go too far down this hypothetical. But if he is convicted, you're facing either, look, that case could go capital, and we're talking about the death penalty being on the table. We're also talking about the possibility of life without parole. So, again, this is somebody who is looking forward, reportedly looking forward to clearing his name and to being exonerated, saying that he is not guilty of the crimes that he has been accused of. If he is able to prove his innocence, and if it's determined that he is not responsible for the crimes, plural, the answer to this question is likely no. If he is convicted, the answer to this question very well might be yes, depending, of course, on the legal process and how it plays out. But there is so much navigating that needs to be done between A and Z. We're not even, I mean, he hasn't even arrived in the state where he's supposed to answer these charges.
You know what I find the most fascinating too is how quickly information can be discovered on somebody.
Yeah.
In this day and age, with just so many people, a lot of you watching right now, the ability to just tap in and find information so fast is just unbelievable to me in this day and age, because we have a whole profile on this guy of what he did, where he went to school, how he acted when he was in class, you know, where he drove, what kind of car he had, and, you know, who he hung out with. We've had people, close personal friends and exes, reach out to us saying that, you know, they were with him or they were friends with him. And that was all within the first few days. So, I mean, the information travels so quickly. It's just wild to me that, you know, in this day and age, how much information you get so fast. But that can also be bad, too, because that can also lead you down rabbit holes where you start to believe things that aren't true. So, again, I always come back to, we got to wait and see what the information and the evidence is before we really move forward on this.
So our NBC sister station, NBC Philadelphia, they had a reporter in the courtroom her, by the name of Deanna Durante, and tweeting, Brian Kohberger remained calm, stoic in court, answering a judge's questions and telling her he is waiving his right to extradition and return to Idaho willingly to face 4 counts of murder and that burglary charge. Live updates coming your way on their station. Interesting, just the words there, excuse me. Calm and stoic in court. Take that for what you will, folks. Let's go back to the comment section. And I just had a really interesting. Victoria Patrick, yes, if we have a feed. Now it's my job here to organize feeds. It's what I do.
I did see
here in the
coordinates.
Stream Center. Yeah, so as far as getting that feed, that I'm here in the Stream Center. This entire room is designed to bring in live feeds and distribute it to you wherever you're watching from, and to make it as accessible as possible. That's the whole mission statement.
Air traffic control.
That's right. And
See, it's like an air traffic control center.
it certainly is. And what we'll try to do is we will try to provide, if the feed comes in, it's a tap away on the touch screen and we take you to it. I worked all afternoon to ensure that we would have that feed, and that feed is coming up in about 24 minutes time. 4:30 Eastern is when we're expected to have it. Autumn is the best. Hashtag HJB. I think he pleads not guilty. I think that is the more likely scenario. And here's the one. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this name. GNRBABE. Hashtag HJB. Will the trial in Idaho be televised? So I talked to a lot of states and a lot of court officials, and I always call them up, and it's always my first question. What is your courtroom policy for live feeds inside of the courtroom? And I want to make this clear, every state has different rules when it comes to the transparency of their courtroom. Pennsylvania's rules were made very, very clear to me yesterday that the courtroom itself is off limits, but the courthouse isn't. It's kind of an odd quirk, right? That we were able to get hallway access, but not courtroom access. But look, every state has their different rules, and we'll find out what the rules are in Idaho.
Hey, I want to give a hat tip out to Mabel Quintanilla. She just gave me forwarded me a tweet from John Webb, who's a reporter out at, looks like North Idaho reporter KHQ TV, says Ann Taylor, the chief public defender of Kootenai County, will be representing Brian Koberger in the state of Idaho. Reached out to her office just now, but was sent to her voicemail. So now, thanks for posting that. I will look and see if that continues to be the name that is going to be surrounded by his defense. Appears to be. So if that is the case, you're going to hear a lot about her. So we'll start digging on that, get some more information on who's going to be representing. But according to this reporter, it's Ann Taylor, Kootenai County. Thanks, Mabel, for forwarding that on.
Katie, hashtag KJB, do you think Koberger is guilty based on body language and overall attitude? So, no one can answer this question. And I bring this up just to, this introduces us to this, the conversation that we were having earlier about how people look at his eyes, he's guilty.
Because they want answers. The people just want to know things so fast. But that's a fair question, because there are body language experts out there who will take a serial killer and look at the mannerisms and the body language and actually make a discernible, judgment on, yes, this person has tells and this person has things that you can tell when they're lying or whatnot. So, I mean, there's definitely a science to it. I mean, the average person like you or I couldn't probably figure any of that out. We could assume we did, but it's too dangerous at this point to make those kind of jumps in a case like this, because there's just so much more work to be done and so much more information that the public just doesn't know yet.
And of course, we've heard so much confidence being expressed by Chief Fry in Moscow that they have their guy. But I want to remind our audience, we're very early on in this process. The arrest affidavit will tell us so much. And that, I really hope that people, once the arrest affidavit drops, we'll likely launch a live stream here. We'll comb through it. We'll go through it, a lot of it live. And hopefully, look, arrest affidavits, I've gone through, I can't, countless arrest affidavits. I'm just hoping that the redactions are minimal. Because the redactions, so many times, there's so much hype surrounding an arrest affidavit as investigators detail, what evidence they have. But there is, of course, a process that has to go through before it's released to the public, and redactions are made for the integrity of the ongoing investigation and for the legal process. Redactions exist in different forms in different jurisdictions, so we're just hoping that the redactions in and of themselves are minimal, so that we can get a clear picture as to what evidence is against Koberger. Again, if you're just joining us, JB and Josh here with you. We are awaiting a 4:30 press conference from PA. And I'm getting that that's set up now. Okay. So that's, I'm just shooting a note out to our teams to make sure that we have that.
I may have to jump and get onto the newscast, but how long do you think?
Well, we got the presser coming up in 20 minutes. Up to you. You're my streaming partner in crime.
I could come back.
Okay. depends, of course, on
You don't like to leave a man hanging, though,
no,
on an island.
Josh.
This is a tough job to do by yourself, right?
Yeah, you complete me, Josh.
How many times have you done this by yourself?
A lot, and it's a lot easier when
To
I
tread
have
water and just keep it going.
teamwork makes the stream work.
But yeah, but it's nice to have people commenting. This real-time commenting is awesome.
Here's what we're gonna do, folks. We are gonna momentarily take a 3-minute break in preparation for the 4:30 press
Good idea.
conference. I'll be able to take our I'll be able to talk to our team in person just to make sure that we're getting a feed, and so we will be more equipped and best equipped to handle the 4:30 press conference if we take about a 3-minute break. So don't go anywhere, folks. We will be right back here on W at the Lake.
Just checking in on y'all back here. Just about got it done. Y'all are gonna hear a little bit more rattling of the bags, but that's just me cleaning. Watching this is causing me to have a bunch of flashbacks, y'all. I'm just gonna let y'all know. And I do not own the rights to any of the streaming off of WFLA now. I'll learn how to do all this stuff. The main thing I want to do is, we'll do a press conference here at the wall or something on that. But the main thing I want to do is catch him coming in. Catch that some bitch going out. Bought me some gummy worms earlier today. I ain't even got to eat them yet. Thought I was gonna have to call the cab back to pick me up this morning. That's why I really wasn't in a rush to get Dawn or whatever to the store, because I knew I had this going on today. Oops, sorry. And make sure and buck somebody. So it's a beautiful morning. thanks goes out to Miss September Virgo and Miss Amanda shopping with me earlier. Thanks to September Virgo and Dolly Bear. It was quite comical. It was quite comical. I'm gonna make chicken stir fry for dinner tonight. I don't know how y'all make y'all, but I take and I put my chicken and stir fry vegetables with some noodles in it, and I'm gonna put some of that fajita mix with it this time. I like vegetables. I do. I love vegetables. I just really have not been able to get a whole lot lately, and it's mainly because of, you know, one, my refrigerator. I need a refrigerator, but I'm fine with what I have because I don't cook a whole lot as it is. So I just don't have the energy to cook a lot. But I've just been having a craving for it today. I used to make these things called teriyaki stuff, and they were pretty fire. They were pretty fire. Let y'all see my house. It's messy right now. Afraid I'm gonna have a pipe bust whenever someone comes through. Anyway, let me just go ahead and fill y'all in on a little bit of what's going on though, for real. Brian, Coburger, let me behave. Brian Christopher Coburger, the suspect who has been taken into custody in the stabbings of the 4 University of Idaho students, Ethan, Chapin, Sam Carnoodle, Kaylee Gonsalves, and Madison Mogan. He is being charged on 4 counts of first-degree murder. This is a federal case, so my department. Y'all pretty damn hot. I think I'm pretty hot here. I feel like I'm gonna get sick, sorry. The extradition process, he's in the courtroom, or he's in his little room right now. He's waiving his extradition, and he will be on a flight this evening. I mean, they might fly him. I mean, that's usually how they do, like that. And, sorry, I'm hungry. Considering that we are dealing with someone here who, I'm so unprofessional.
WFLA now will begin momentarily.
He's waiving his extradition, and he will be on that flight. He is trained, I guess you could say. Whenever you go in the Fed and you have a lot of skills under your belt, you kind of sort of get the title of trained instead of being qualified, right? So you gotta think of it like this. This man studied criminology. Like, oh, he was working on his PhD in the shit. I mean, me, myself, personally, I've just been joking around saying I could get a PhD in life. Because, I mean, I've been through shit with life. Alright, what are y'all doing out here? I got a camper. Don't know what the hell they're doing. I got good news about that. I have been grandfathered into the campground. I don't have to go nowhere. But here we go. We're back again. Let's see what they're saying. And then we'll talk more. Look at that.
Breaking news on WFLA now. Here's JV Buno.
Idaho murder suspect Brian Coburger leaving the courtroom after agreeing to waive his extradition, sending him back to Idaho to answer to 4 first-degree murder charges. And now just into the WFLA Now Stream Center, a feed from Pennsylvania, where Pennsylvania State Police will be speaking momentarily, giving their very latest on the case. JB here with you live, folks, on WFLA Now, alongside my colleague, WFLA's Josh Benson, hanging out with us here in the Stream Center. Again, the very latest on this story on WFLA.com and WFLA. Yeah, we just got in the feed moments ago from Pennsylvania State Police. They are going to be speaking. They have called a press conference here today. The exact reason for their press conference, I believe, I guess we'll find out here momentarily, but the exact reason why they are calling a press conference it wasn't made exactly clear. They just want to discuss details, questions that they have been being asked about the apprehension of Brian Kohberger, wanted, of course, and the suspect in the University of Idaho stabbing deaths. So this is the feed here in the center of your screen. We're about 5 to 10 minutes away, Josh.
Yep. Yeah, and we just heard actually watched, obviously, the video of Kohberger coming in and out of the hearing, the extradition hearing. A lot of people asking what happened inside of that hearing, and I'm starting to see some of the notes from some of the reporters. Bradley Warren's a reporter out there who was in the courtroom. He said, he kept looking at his mom and his sisters. At some point, he mouthed out something to them that was unclear, but he said that he made the decision voluntary, nothing more than yes, and I understand. We also found out that Ann Taylor will be the public attorney in Idaho when he is extradited back to the state of Idaho. So we're getting a few details of what happened during that hearing, as well as what's going to happen once he's extradited in terms of his defense.
So just confirming, so a public defender in Idaho.
Ann Taylor is her name, right?
Right. So so a public defender representing him in Pennsylvania, and then, of course, a public defender representing him in Moscow, Idaho. As we see here, look at the size of the group of media that have assembled here in the room. Really not all that surprised considering the magnitude of the case. But as soon as this press conference gets underway, we will, of course, turn up the audio. We will listen in and we'll take you here live, full screen. And in the meantime, what we'll do is we'll answer some questions here out of the YouTube live comment section. We're about to relaunch on Facebook Live. Jordan asking, hashtags first both, do you think that because he studies criminology, he has a plan? I would imagine that the plan is very fluid and coming together. This is something that is going across now a couple of different states, but does his degree in criminology inform him on having a plan? We really don't know the answer to this question.
Well, I think, and the bigger question is, he's dealing with public defenders. Does he not have an attorney, nor maybe doesn't have the money to afford an attorney, a high-profile attorney that's going to come out and represent him in this case? No bigger, higher-profile attorney has come to say, I want to represent this person as of what we're learning, because this Ann Taylor, this chief public defender in Kootenai County, if I'm pronouncing that right, will be the one representing him. So, as you said, JB, from Pennsylvania to Idaho, he's dealing with public defenders. So as far as having a plan from criminology, I mean, it's too early to tell, what his plans are. Does he have a knowledge of, well, we're not going to go down that route because I could easily go down that route. But I think a lot of people on social media have gone down that route. What does he know from his degree in criminology or his PhD studies? What does he know about situations like this? It's all speculation, and I think right now all he needs to focus on is getting the defender in place, going to Idaho, and trying to exonerate himself from these charges. I think that's primarily the focus.
We will, a lot of these questions are going to become more clear over time, and really, we might get some answers in this press conference. Which, again, I'll admit, I'm a little, I'm curious as to really. What the exact subject matter is going to be for this press conference. But I guess we're going to find out here momentarily. Police have something to say, and of course we're going to be listening with our pens on the ready to take notes, because this is now leaving the Pennsylvania arena and going into the legal arena in Idaho, and that's where this story will continue from this point forward. So, also too, have we
Y'all
heard
listen, I love y'all, but
any
I'm gonna have to
details
go
on
leave
when
and everything else.
the extradition is actually
I'll
going to
we'll
begin?
do this later, okay, I
Again,
promise.
I believe
Love
the
y'all.
way that it works, and I'm not speaking here